Our Wendy's High School Female Athlete of the Week, a sub-state champion this past week at the 6A Girls Tournament at Leavenworth. Her name is Dajia Anderson, a senior from Washburn Rural. And Dajia, let's start with this past weekend. We'll get to your season accolades and what's to come at the state tournament coming up in a moment. But let's go back to sub-state. You pick up an individual title, a team title as well. What was working so well for you at Leavenworth at sub-state last week?
I believe it was definitely listening to my coach. I think this year I really tried to incorporate more technique instead of relying on just pure strength by itself. So I try to make sure during matches this year, especially at regionals and sub-states, to really listen and try to imply what he says.
Can you take us on a little bit of a crash course there when you talk about adding more technique as opposed to just using your brute strength to win matches? Can you kind of describe what some of that technique might be?
It's like, let's say she's on her back and you are almost having her pinned down, and then my coach says, lift her head up a little bit so she can get her shoulders down. I would try to do that instead of just kind of like squeezing and try to pray and hope that she just goes down. It really does help.
Now, leading up to this point, your record now on the season, 27-4 this year. It's been a phenomenal senior season for you. When you go back and you look from the first meet of the year all the way up until this point, what would you say is maybe, along with the addition of some technique to your game, what would you say is maybe the biggest area where you've improved over the course of the year?
I think mentally, I think I very much improved. I definitely believed last year and the beginning of this year, I had the mindset of you have to end every match in a pin. You have to pin her, and that's the only way you can win. That's not true, and I really implied that more this year. Whereas for some matches, I win in points, and I realized that's okay. You don't have to end it in a pin necessarily. It doesn't make you a star,
Dajia Anderson is our guest, our Wendy's High School Female Athlete of the Week, the 191-pound champion at the Leavenworth Sub-State this past week, and she's heading on to the state tournament. I want to ask you this, though, Dajia. Girls wrestling is a new, just 2 years old sport recognized by Keisha here in the state. When did you start wrestling? Is it something you just picked up in the recent past, or has it been something you've been involved in for a long time?
No, last year was my first year, and I just thought it'd be fun. My coach came up to me during gym class, and he was like, you should do wrestling, and I was like, okay, sure. And that's just honestly how I got started, and I really liked the sport. I really fell in love with it.
What was it about wrestling that from the very beginning kind of stood out to you, and you thought, okay, I actually like doing this. I like this opportunity?
I think it was several things. One of the biggest things for me is that even though you're wrestling one-on-one with another person, it's still like a team sport. Like when your teammates and your coaches are in the corner and cheering you on, that empowers you. And that's one of the biggest things I really like about it, is that even though it's one-on-one with you, one other person, you still help out a team. It's still a very big team thing.
Let's talk about team a little bit here, because as I mentioned earlier, not just your individual title this weekend at Sub-State, but a win for the team as well, picking up a pretty dominant victory at 6A. Washburn Rural obviously has a tremendous history with wrestling. When you look at your team accomplishments this year and the team, again, Sub-State championship, what is the one thing that maybe stands out about your group the most this year that pushes you above the rest?
I think the biggest thing is that we're all so encouraging of each other, because we have a lot of freshmen and we have a lot of new girls this year, and some of them have gotten and qualified for regionals and sub-state, and they may not win every single match and they may get pinned and they feel down about themselves, but no one holds them against them, not even the coaches. We telling them you did your best and you tried your hardest, and that's one of the things I love about the team. They're so encouraging for everyone.
We're talking to Dajia Anderson, a senior wrestler from Washburn Rural, our Wendy's High School Female Athlete of the Week. Well, next on the schedule, Dajia, it is the trip to the state tournament coming up here in the near future. What is your mindset heading into what I would imagine is the biggest wrestling event of your life?
I'm very nervous. I always get so nervous during matches and before matches. And my coach actually told us yesterday to go into every single meet knowing that you're going to win. And so that's my mindset right now. I'm just imagining myself winning every match and slowly getting through that.
Is wrestling something you're planning on keeping a part of your future beyond your high school career, which as a senior, it will end at the state tournament coming up here this week? What is kind of your plan for wrestling for your future? And is it part of your plan for the future?
It definitely is. I'm looking at colleges right now so I can wrestle in college. I'm not sure on which one yet, but I definitely do plan on wrestling in college.
Well, up until this point, it has been a phenomenal season for Dajia Anderson. We're certain that is going to continue at state next week. The 191-pound champion at the Leavenworth Sub-State for Class 6A this past week. Senior Dajia Anderson from Washburn Rural is our Wendy's Female High School Athlete of the Week. Dajia, we thank you so much for taking some time for us, and good luck coming up at the state tournament.
Thank you.